D-Lo 404. I want to say welcome back to my subscribers. Welcome back to the channel. To any repeat viewers, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you're feeling the content of this video, please like, share, and comment. Also subscribe. I'll say that once again. I want to make a quick video in response to an article I saw on YouTube. On Boxing Scene this morning. Shout out to Boxing Scene. It was just a quick article where they were talking about Mike Tyson tripling down on his praise for AJ as being the top heavyweight. So AJ is the best out of the whole lot of the heavyweights in the division. And of course, you got your AJ fanboys on there, took that and ran with it, like, because Mike Tyson, who is already on record as saying this stuff, because he said it once more. Sorry about the background noise, I'm driving. Who said it once more is like the official word on him. Because Mike Tyson said it, that means AJ can beat everybody else. And of course, they referenced the belts. He has these 3 belts, which of course they said 4, which I don't count that IBO belt as anything other than just a belt. No worth no more than the belt I have on right now, keeping my pants up on my ass. But anyway, so they took that and ran with it. Really, but much to do about nothing. But because the AJ fanboys wanted to really make a big deal out of it, I'm gonna make a video about it, and I'm gonna shoot down some of the comments that they were making on that video, in response to that article. So a lot of like first things to come out, you got it right off the bat. Yeah, Mike Tyson just basically echoing what everybody else is saying. This is what the comments are. Mike Tyson's echoing what everybody else already knows. Mike Tyson knows his boxing, such and such. Also, of course, AJ's the best. He has all the belts except for one. They even go as far as to say Wilder won a vacant belt, when in fact Wilder didn't win a vacant belt. AJ's the one who won a vacant belt, versus a fighter who had fought in a year and a half, regardless of who he was prior to going out. That's how AJ picked up that WBA belt, if I'm not mistaken. The WBA belt. So, of course, they want to attach all this nonsense to Wilder. They want to basically discredit him as a champion. Like he just went out there and fought some taxi driver and became a champion. And like he hadn't defended it, 6-7 times now. And knocked out everyone who's tried to take that title from him. Even the guy he won it from. But none of that matters. But in the grand scheme of things, Mike Tyson's opinion is just Mike Tyson's opinion. You can respect it because of who he is, but at the same time, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because this man does not like Wilder. And I think a lot of his distaste for Wilder is because of how Wilder came into the sport. Wilder didn't grow up like he did, having to fight his way up through the amateurs and in boxing gyms, all the time as a kid and so forth and so on. He didn't, he came to the sport very late and basically had a very quick ascension to Olympic bronze. Didn't win the gold, he won bronze, but even Mike himself didn't even make the Olympic team. So when you think about things like that, maybe that has a little bit to do with his animosity towards him. Maybe he just doesn't like him as a person. Whatever it is, or maybe he really does believe AJ's better, but he's entitled to believe what he believes. That doesn't make it gospel, and that doesn't just give you AJ fanboys. That doesn't just give y'all free reign to just come out and just spew out all type nonsense and untruths just to try to substantiate your feelings. The bottom line is this: if you guys want to know who is the best heavyweight out there, got to encourage the top guys to fight one another. Got to encourage the next level guys down from the top guys to be fighting one another. I mean, you got all of these other guys standing around waiting on a fight with the top 1-2 guys. You know, Ortiz to me is top 3 heavyweight. You know, maybe top 2. But the reality is, none of them guys want to fight him. So you have to take, just for the sake of knowing that they won't fight him, you know, it almost cancels him out. He's basically just an odd man looking in, because none of the top guys want to fight him. I mean, Wilder gave him a shot 2 times, and they finally got the fight off. But after that, Ortiz is right back to being the most avoided heavyweight out there. Ortiz doesn't have a belt for these guys to come after. They see him as basically the guy who will derail them from getting a shot at a title should they take a fight with him. AJ clearly wants no smoke with Ortiz. He avoided that fight, was willing to, he and Eddie Hearn basically are on record. I'll put it like this. Eddie Hearn is on record saying that they would vacate the title rather than fight Ortiz if they had to. AJ never came out and said, "Oh, I'm not vacating my title. I'll fight him." You know, he had nothing to say about it because he was right in line with that. He did not want that fight. And if it wasn't for the WBA dropping Ortiz from their rankings behind something that went on in during the build up, or the I guess the lack of a better term, on the road to a WBC bout where he failed the drug test with VADA, which was sanctioned under WBC bout. You know, they dropped him from the rankings after that in the WBA, and he's still not ranked by the WBA yet. I think he's supposed to become ranked mid-September, and I can't remember the brother's name who was on the Mobcast who said who pretty much dropped his information on us. But shout out to that brother if anyone knows who he is. But also the WBO doesn't have Ortiz ranked, and the WBO rankings look atrocious. It just look like a who's list of guys waiting to get knocked out. But that said, again, Mike is entitled to have his opinion. It's his opinion. But yet and still, you got these AJ protectors come out with first thing. Well, Wilder hadn't fought anybody his whole career until he fought Ortiz, and Ortiz was 40 years old, and Wilder almost lost. Okay, first of all, Ortiz is on record as being 37 at the time of the fight, 38 years old now, recently had a birthday. Okay, we know Vlad was over 40 when AJ fought him, had not fought in over a year and about 18 months, I think it was, and had lost and looked the worst he'd ever looked in his career against Tyson Fury during that loss. You know, he even in the fight that Vlad got knocked out in, he looked good in those fights prior to getting knocked out. He looked better than he did against Fury prior to getting knocked out. I'll put it that way. But somehow you guys forget that. You know, you forget how old Vlad was. He was coming off a layoff and the loss. But AJ gets top credit for beating this guy that Fury had already beaten. But yet and still, you want to dismiss Wilder beating Ortiz, who clearly is the boogeyman of the division. Guy still can't get a fight. AJ didn't want to fight him. Fury is on record saying he didn't want to fight him. Vladimir Klitschko is on record saying he didn't want to fight him. The other guy in the UK that you guys think is good, that ain't good, Dillian White, won't fight him. I mean, no one's trying to get in the ring with Ortiz. But y'all still want to discredit this man? if you guys think Ortiz is sweet, please encourage your favorite fighter to get in the ring with him. And if you think Dillian White can do anything with Ortiz, encourage him to take Ortiz in December. He has to fight someone in December prior to his proposed AJ fight in April. Tell him to get in the ring with Ortiz if you think Ortiz is sweet. Because everybody else is tied up. You know, Wilder's fight in November. So, Wilder and Fury will fight in November. So, if your boy Dillian White wants to be considered one of the top guys, let him fight Luis Ortiz. Let's see where he's at. Let's see if he can beat Ortiz. If he beats Ortiz, all respect to him. I'd be clamoring for Wilder to get in the ring with him. But that's not gonna happen. AJ has that April date. He's supposedly looking for an opponent if he can't make a deal with Wilder. I'll say this. Ortiz is out there. Why don't you beat the man that almost beat Wilder? According to AJ fans, Ortiz almost beat Wilder. And let me correct y'all on that. Ortiz almost dropped Wilder. Almost dropped him. He didn't almost beat him. He almost dropped him. Vlad dropped AJ badly. Had him on clear streak for quite a minute before he got out of that round. And then, you know, had Vlad employed a different strategy, he probably got AJ out of there in the next round. And he definitely would have got him out of there if Emmanuel Stewart had been in this corner. That's for sure. Because Emmanuel wouldn't have had him coming out there all passive and being all cautious. He'd have had him out there going for the kill. But another way to clear all this up, you got Wilder's already beat Ortiz, okay? So we'll just say Wilder is better than Ortiz, all right? So you're not going to rank Ortiz higher than Wilder. Wilder beat him in the ring head-to-head. Knocked him out. Didn't win a controversial decision. He knocked him out. That can't be disputed. Okay? You got Fury fighting Wilder. There should be a clear, concise winner of that fight. When that fight comes to its conclusion, we should know who the better fighter is between Wilder and Fury. Okay? So that would be, if we're saying the top 4 guys at heavyweight are Ortiz, Fury, Wilder, and AJ in no certain order. Just say they're the top 4. Should Wilder beat Fury, Wilder would have beaten 2 of the top 4 heavyweights available to beat right now, available to fight. 2 of the top 4 active heavyweights. Okay, there goes AJ's April date. AJ would have not beaten any of the top 4 or the top 3 heavyweights. He wouldn't have fought Wilder. He wouldn't have fought Fury. He wouldn't have fought Ortiz. So that April date sits there. If Wilder has beaten Ortiz, if Wilder has beaten Fury at that point, if you want to prove that you're the best heavyweight, you can go out there and fight the guy who's already beaten the other 3 top heavyweights. And also, we'll say if Povetkin's number 5, let's just say that, or just say he's somewhere in the in the mix with these guys. If they're all the top 5, you include Povetkin in no certain order. Just say Povetkin's in the top 5. Even if you want to say he's number 2, I'd say he's number 5 if I put him at 5. But just say you want to give AJ super duper credit and say Sasha is the number 2 heavyweight. Okay. If AJ beats him, he's out of the way. So between AJ and Wilder, the top other 4 heavyweights, or other 3, between not including themselves, would have already been beaten by one of the other 2. So you'd have AJ's beaten Povetkin. Wilder would have beaten Fury and Ortiz. That only leaves AJ and Wilder left standing. It's almost like they had an unofficial tournament that was basically, loser out. So that leaves Wilder and AJ. That April date's there. If AJ wants to prove he's the best, all he has to do is make Wilder an offer that makes sense for a fight of that magnitude. Should that happen, there's no reason Wilder shouldn't take that fight. If AJ comes out with another flat fee offer, then that tells me AJ has no interest in making that fight. And on that note, I'm going to close this video out. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out New Media. I'm out here.